Hey there, Christopher Thunder here from the World's Sturdiest Workshop. I just set up my studio, and across there somebody's grinding trees, and I'm just like, I just set this up, now you're going to grind trees. Thank you very much for ruining my video. Okay, so I've got the microphone here and the camera's way out there. Here's the video. I have paints here. I have a water-based paint and an oil-based paint. I have 3 samples of wood from our old cabinetry. My wife painted the kitchen cabinets with this paint, a water-based paint. And this has an oil base finish on it, unfinished. I'm going to leave this one unfinished. It's got a U on it. This one has an O on it for the oil-based paint. So see the O? And this one has a W on it for the water-based paint. My wife sprayed on this yellow detergent on the water-based surface to clean the water-based surface before she applied the water-based paint. So I'm just going to quickly wipe this on. Just say, okay, it's clean, and it's clean the way my wife remembers it. Now, just for grins, I'm going to quickly wipe down the oil-based surface with it, but then I'm going to do an extra step. I'm going to prepare the oil-based surface with a little sandpaper. So see if that's getting quite dirty. And I'm going to put that aside, put this aside. And now I'm going to take the oil-based surface and I'm just going to sand it. Try and do this in shot here. Give it a light sanding. Okay, so now that has a light sanding. Then I'm going to, with a dry cloth, wipe off the dust. So the oil-based panel doesn't have any dust on it. I'm also going to wipe this one off one more time so that that doesn't have any dust on it either. Okay, so that's done. Now, this one is really hard to shake because it is very, very full. I don't think that that's so terribly important because the paint had been shaken not too long ago. This one's a lot easier to shake because the can is half full. So we're just going to shake that up real quick. Now I have these brushes. I might use this one for the oil-based paint just for grins. And then I'll use this high-grade paintbrush to duplicate what my wife did with the water base. So now, just in case you're wondering, this is the label for the brush. That label does say premium. Okay, so now I'm going to open up the half off lid. They gave us this can at Home Depot half off because they were sympathetic to our cause. But at the same time, they wanted to say that, hey, we are absolutely 100% not responsible for the can of paint that we gave you, even though your wife may have come to us for advice about which paint she should use. So I thought that that was really curious that, you know, they're happy to offer advice on paint, but they don't want to have anything to do with the results once you realize you got the wrong paint. So, yeah, the guys over there are still grinding away. Now, the water base is going to go on first. So here's the W for water base. I'm just going to dip that real quick and begin applying that. Now I should be able to just hold that and you should be able to see that in shot. And this water-based paint looks really good. I think this is why my wife just kept painting, because going on, the water-based paint looks great. It does. It really, really looks terrific going on. And she didn't do more than 2 coats. She just wanted to get the job done. So here's 1 coat going on for the water-based paint. Just put that down. We'll put that brush down. Now we have the oil-based paint here. So O for oil and the oil-based paint. Now the oil-based paint doesn't look like it's stirred all that good. So what I'm going to do is just give it a quick stir, so at least the top part isn't so separated. Then I'm going to flip it over and begin painting the oil-based paint. So the oil-based paint, which she did not use on the kitchen counters, is going on here. Now, the only reason we got the oil-based paint was one day I tried to sponge wash a stain off of, there's a paint drop actually, paint drip, a paint touch on the cabinets. So I goofed up, I was painting the wall, and I touched one of the cabinets with a little bit of white paint. So what I did was I went and got a wet rag to wipe it off. And no sooner did I begin scrubbing that the paint began to separate from the surface. And eventually it came off in a sheet. And I was not happy about that. Because what that means is that we can't wash any of the any of the cabinetries. That was the wind doing that. Cannot wash any of the cabinets with a wet sponge. Cannot. That was a little entertaining that was the case. So what I'm going to do here is just try and do a halfway decent job of keeping the grain intact. This goes on really well in 1 coat. If you know anything about painting and applying coats, okay, you have to be careful about when it dries or how it's drying, how it's curing. And you have to be able to pull the brush strokes through the paint so you don't leave any marks where you stroked the paint. Now that's dripping a little bit, but I'm going to put that down, and that's fine. Now remember, this one's going to stay unfinished. So that's the oil-based paint. Now the water-based paint is already drying. So it's already starting to show that it's starting to dry. So now what I'm going to do is come back with the water-based paint, which is the red one here, the one that my wife used, because the paint is lower in the can. Okay, that's the 1/4 of a can that my wife used to paint the entire kitchen. 1/3 of a can. So she used 1/3 of a can to paint the whole kitchen. And this paint, as it is, does maintain the grain very nicely. So there's spots where the grain's a little deep. That's where you want to work the paint into the grain. There's a spot where the grain's a little deep. There's a spot where the paint, right there. The original finish wasn't quite smooth. Remember, I didn't really prep this. All I did was clean it with a little lemon cleaner. And there we go. There's the water-based sample. Now I can see already that the oil-based sample is losing its grain. It's very glossy and it's globby and kind of ugly. What I'll do is I'll bring the camera in closer so you can see. The water-based one has maintained its finish. It has a very nice finish, but later on it's going to cause problems. So I'm going to set this one down. And I'm going to clean up here. So, oil-based one is super glossy, almost 2 levels of glossiness above what the first can was that they gave us. And they said that these two should be a really close match at the Home Depot. And were they? No, not really. Okay, the tint and hue were about the same, but the finishes were not even close. So I couldn't just start painting doors with this paint. If I did, I would destroy the look of the kitchen because you get this globby, drippy, semi-glossy kind of an effect, which is really kind of ugly. So I'm going to turn off the video and give you a couple close-ups of what this looks like. And I'm going to overlay the recording as I need to because of the noise over there. So let's do that. So let me go shut that off. I want to thank you for watching me, Christopher Thunder from the World's Dirtiest Workshop. This is understanding paints and why, you really should do a little surface prep and a little cleaning for paint. And even if you do, would you still get a good finish? And that's all based on the paint quality. Is this paint stirred really good? It's okay. It's stirred well enough that from the top layers of paint, it should function pretty well. But I can tell you right now, even after stirring the paint and applying it the first time on the cabinetry, I got the same effect, which is it has a very globby, glossy kind of an effect. So, thanks for watching. I'm going to shut the camera off right now.